Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again for tuning in for another installment of Saturdays with Sin. I'm your girl, Sinquetta, and we are going. Look, this year I told myself, okay, it's not just about Black History Month, but this is going to be Black History Year for me because I feel like we should walk in excellence 24/7, 365 all year, regardless of the month. You know what I mean? I feel like everybody puts all the emphasis in February, but now it's going to be February, March, April, May, June. Okay, so you're going to hear from me all year. And I just wanted to highlight, people from our past that kind of made it possible for us to be here today. So we're going to get a little bit of everything. So before I get into all the details and who we are talking about today, I'm going to run my intro and we will be back in a moment.
Medicine, Quebec, man, a girl was heaven sent. Medicine, Quebec, man, a girl was heaven sent.
Yes, so good morning, guys. Well, no, it's morning. It could be like evening if you're watching this somewhere else in the world, but it's still morning. So thanks for tuning in for another installment of Saturdays with Sin. I'm your girl, Sinquetta, and I am a reset coach. I help women get back after a setback. So that's how come I really wanted to highlight people from our past. And like I said, this is going to be Black History 24/7. Black history all year, not just highlighting people, of color for Black History Month, but this is about to be Black History Year for me and for you guys too. Because I feel like the people that I'll be highlighting is really going to inspire you and keep you motivated. It's just like, okay, if they did X, Y, and Z, I can do X, Y, and Z. And just hearing some of these people's stories is just like, whoa, I really have no reason to complain. So that's what this installment is going to be about. So today we will be featuring George Washington Carver. And I feel like y'all probably know him from when we were in school, back in high school, grade school. You probably did your Black History report on him, or, you watched the other students do their report on him. But I feel like he's an excellent man to highlight because not only did he do a lot of great accomplishments, but he was such a humble man. And he was a man of faith. So I'm all for that. Because I really realized that for me, when I look at successful people or people that I find successful, that was always like the common thing. Like they had faith in God. They were able to do extraordinary things where like, okay, it had to be some divine intervention. Somebody in their family knew like something is about these people, you know what I mean? For them to do like be over leaps and bounds above the rest. And that's how I felt about George Washington Carver. So I'm going to share my screen real quick because I did a little PowerPoint for y'all. Remember PowerPoints from back in the day? Back in the day when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. Okay, slideshow. We'll just share my current slide from current slide. Yes. I don't need that. Okay. Share. Let's see how this do. Okay. Yeah. All right. So we are up in Adam. Okay, yeah, that looks real cute too. So you can still see me as well. All right. So I want to talk about George Washington Carver because I really feel like I said he was a humble man. And then just thinking about his beginning. Y'all know he was born in a time where people in America owned slaves. And when listening to that, people own people here in America, it's just kind of weird to me. Like when I actually heard it, it's just like, wow, can I believe that there was a time where this was actually going on? So, he was born into a slave family. And at a very young age, he got separated from his mom and his sisters. Like slave kidnappers came and took his family away. Hey. So that part stuck out to me. So at a very young age, he was already separated from his family, from the woman that brought him in the earth. And for people, that's I always love my mama. She's my favorite girl. Thinking about that, it's just like, dang, I really couldn't imagine how my life would be without my mom. But nevertheless, he came in this life with not his support family, his support system intact. But like I say, he still did great things. So it just kind of lets me know, with faith, humility, and God, you can make it too. Those be the core things. So yes, so his beginnings was very, very humble. I remember they talked about him going to school and where he lived at the time, but eventually, he just had a thirst for hunger. Y'all people that had like love to learn. He was one of those people, and eventually he had to go to another city, which was 8 miles away. So they didn't have cars and stuff like that back in those days. So he walked on foot for 8 miles. And this is interesting that I'm talking about this because remember we were just talking about making the band and how they had to walk to go get cheesecake for Puff. But that was for that. But for this, I understand. I feel like when it's something that you're going for, it's something that you believe is going to take you to another better place, you'll go through the pain, you'll sacrifice. So for him, that 8 miles probably felt like 8 minutes because he really wanted to get an education. So sometimes I do really feel like we put things in place like, oh, that's too hard. That's because we really don't want to put in the work. And that reminds me of a quote that he said too that I wanted to share with y'all. So he said that 99% of failures come from people who have the habit of making excuses. And that's so true. Like, I just feel like when it's something that you really want to do, that you believe you're called to do, you'll make a way. And it's true. I just thought about that. Like, for every excuse that people make for something, that must mean they really don't want to do it. Because I know that when we be dating, ladies, if it's a guy we like, we will move mountains. There's no barrier. There's nothing in the way. But when it comes to other things, we pick and choose like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. Maybe I'm not, because you don't want it that bad. But when it comes to a man, a shoe, a dress, or something like that, you'll make them sacrifices. So for George Washington Carver, it was his education that he was trying to get that he made the sacrifice for. So I wanted to talk about that. And another thing that I feel like set him apart from other people was his alone time with God. So for me, I know like when I wake up, I pray, keep God on my mind. Y'all say I got scriptures on my wall as like just a reminder or whatever. But I learned that he will wake up at 4 a.m. in the morning to spend time alone with God. And I just like love that because it also reminds me of the scripture. Remember when like Jesus would wake up when he walked the earth, he would wake up and he would pray like whenever. And it's just and then I noticed too, corporate prayer is good, but I think something happens when you actually take time, you and God, to like connect and be together alone. You know what I mean? When you have designated alone time, like nothing's going to interfere with this time, then I'm talking to the creator. And that's what George Washington Carver, will refer to God as too, like Mr. Creator. So I really do feel like that was what set him out and why he was able to do so many things because he was talking to the creator himself. And that's how you know that wisdom do come from God, because the thing, he already didn't have like a good education or a standard education, but he was able to get in front of God, read his Bible, which he did daily, and he was able to come up with so many things. Like you just got to know, like this was all God. So for the people that don't know, George Washington Carver discovered over 100 uses for sweet potato and 300 uses for peanuts, including beverages, cosmetic, dyes and paints, medicines, and food products. Like how? You know what I mean? Like that's how you know. For me, that's how I know that all glory, honor, and belongs to God, because a peanut, really, like I would just look at the peanut and like, oh, this is something to eat. But to know that it could have so many uses just is amazing to me. And I feel like nature kind of has that kind of thing for us as well. Anything that we can come up with in nature or anything that we consume that's like edible, that's in nature, I feel like always has like the best properties because it came from the earth. It wasn't created in the lab. So I just know like God will give you good ideas and witty inventions too. If you just sit up, and he'll give you good ideas concerning yourself. I feel like that's another thing. We are God's creation. So if you're trying to look for like, what should I do with myself? Where should I go in life? Get in the face of God, like George Washington Carver did, spend time alone with him, and he will tell you what you can do with yourself and where you need to be, the uses of you, the 300 ways that you can be a blessing to others. Like, come on now. it's God, you know, so it's always going back to the creator. It's going back to the creator for me. So that's why I also wanted to share that part. So his humbleness. I put this up here because George Washington Carver went through so much just to help out, to be educated and things like that. When he started getting his notoriety and his claim to fame, it'll be times where he would be traveling and he would encounter like racism, of course. But the thing that gets me is like, even when his life was threatened, he still had just a humbleness and a peace to him that is very amazing. Because, you know, most of the time, especially in this generation, oh, you mess with me, I'm clapping back. Like, it's about to be a problem. It's on site, you know. So just the fact that he was able to always, I guess, see the higher good, or he knew his mission at hand. So it didn't even matter if people were trying to throw him off, make him feel like he wasn't good enough, discrimination, race. That didn't matter because his eye was on the prize. Like, he wanted to serve the creator and he wanted to make things easier for mankind, you know? That's why I put that quote up there too. He says, it has always been the one great idea of my life to be of the greatest good to the greatest number of my people, you know? So he was for the people. And isn't that such a great thing? Because a lot of the times I feel like, especially in this generation, myself included, we can be like very self-centered. Like, I'm just thinking about my people's, my family, you know what I mean? But to think that his attitude was just helping anybody. He would help the people that was discriminating against him. He didn't even patent some of his stuff. I remember reading or hearing or watching, you know, getting research for this live, was that he said, like, why would he try to patent something that he got for free, like the wisdom that he received for free from God? Like, why would he do that? He would not do it. Freely it was given to him, freely he's going to give it to y'all. So look at that. Because, you know, most of the time, again, in this society, in this generation especially, is more so like, how much money can I make? I'm getting to the back. And, you know, that is good. A part of that is good. But always think about giving back to and helping people, because we're in this together. Come on now. So, yes. And another thing I wanted to mention about his humbleness is that when he did get to college, he was like the first Black to go to the college he was going to. And of course, not of course, but, you know, in those times, people didn't want to eat with him. People didn't want to room with him in the dorm. So he would have to eat in the basement with the janitors when it was time to eat at the cafeteria. And then no one wanted to room with him. But I learned that one of the professors at the college let him sleep in his office. So I don't know, for us, or I just remember like being a freshman in college and stuff, and we could complain about our dorm rooms, but at least we had a dorm room and a bed. This man slept in a college classroom. Could you imagine? You'd be like, I'm dropping out. Imagine if they try to do that at these HBCUs. Like, your parents find out that they gave up your room and you got to sleep in the office. Heads will roll. But he just was like, you know what? This is what it is. I also learned that he survived off of prayer, beef, suet, and cornmeal. And I didn't know what no beef suet was, but I learned that that is pure crumbly fat that is found around the kidneys of a pig. So it's just like, oh my gosh, here we are. I remember my college days, complaining about the food. Oh, I gotta eat these noodles and stuff like that. But at least I had options. I went to school across the street from a grocery store, so I could always get really what I wanted when I needed. But the fact that he was just able to just survive off a cornmeal and some like beef, some pig fat, and be happy about it, I'm impressed. You know, I'm so impressed. So my next thing I want to go to is his innovation. So after he went to college, he went and got his master's degree. But around this time, that's when Booker T. Washington, you know, heard about him as well and reached out to him and, you know, told him about the vision of the Tuskegee University. So, George Washington Carver goes down there and goes to Tuskegee and finds out like their agriculture program has nothing. You know what I mean? Back where he was going to school at, they had like a whole lab, but he literally had to create the lab from scratch. So he would use stuff from like the trash can, bottles, old fruit jars, also her old liquor whiskey bottles to create beakers and funnels to create a whole laboratory. And it's just like, I cannot get over this. I don't know, we just don't realize how blessed we are. And anything that we kind of really want is just an Amazon click away and it's to your door. You don't even have to go out really. But for this man to take scraps from the trash and make something of it, it's like, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. He exemplified that. But it also lets me know, again, when you really want to do something, you could take this hairspray and make it work. You can do what it needs to do when your back is against the wall. And I realized too that sometimes the things that we find as challenges are really opportunities to grow and to kind of like get the best out of you. Because do you ever notice that? Like when you don't really got food like that, you be making your best meals, putting stuff together. Like, oh, let me make this. Use these noodles. Just and it be tasting good. And even like sometimes when you don't know what you want to wear, you like put this together. Oh yeah, I got this, I got that. And then eventually it'll be looking cute. So sometimes I feel like the things that happen to us that we just be annoyed by, like, oh my gosh, like how I'm gonna make this work. You wind up making it work and it wind up being better than you had ever expected. So that's what I wanted to say about his innovation. And I also wanted to share like his 8 cardinal rules that he created. And I felt like they were worth mentioning. And another thing, I need to go back up to his alone time with God. That was important. They said when he was doing radio interviews and things like that, he never not mentioned his relationship with God or understanding that it was God that was giving him these ideas and just giving credit, glory, and honor back to the creator. And that's what I always appreciated, learning about him, putting God first, giving God the credit, because literally we're all here because of him. Any good thing we do is because of him. Good ideas, new inventions. We're acting like God here on earth when we do things like that. When we are in our zone of genius, creating and flowing like, yes, that's us. So I appreciated that. And I remember they said because of this, how he, even in class when he was teaching, he would talk about God and things like that. And one of the students asked, like, hey, you should do a Bible study. And the Bible study started off with like 50 students and then grew to 150 students. Y'all know, I wish I was in that Bible study because I'd be like, sometimes you got to sit down under greatness. When people are producing at a high level in the way that he was, Cinquetta would be quiet, just like, oh, that scripture again. Because this is not normal. I would hope like whatever he had will fall down on me. That anointing that he had would just trickle down on me too, just being around someone like that. But he had 8 cardinal rules to live by, and I was going to share some of them with you guys. So one of them was be clean both inside and out. That's a good one. Oh, that reminds me of the song by Hezekiah Walker. Remember? Won't he make you clean? Inside. Won't he make you clean? So the inside part comes from, God being obedient. And also he probably means like, what you actually ingest and what you can look at that a lot of ways. What you ingest, spiritually, mentally, and physically. And of course, outside your presentation, making that look good and cute and presentable to the public. So I got you for that one. The other rule was neither look up to the rich nor down on the poor. It drops mic. We can like close up shop right there, because I do feel like that's a really good rule to have, because sometimes we see somebody rich and say, oh my gosh, we put them on a pedestal, an unrighteous pedestal in our mind, heart, spirit, whatever we put people that we think are doing stuff better than us on a pedestal. And I feel like we can admire them, like, oh, I like what they do, but don't exalt them. It's to a godlike state. They're just humans too, just like the rest of us. As the saying goes, they put on one leg, one pant leg at a time. So yes. And neither look down on the poor. That's another thing, because sometimes people can get a little snooty, because they think someone is less than them. We're all the same, okay? In God's eyes. So you're about to be all the same in my eyes too. Don't get comfortable, people. All right, number 3, lose if need be without squealing. I like that because nobody likes a sore loser. Take your L and move on. You know what I always say? A L is not even really a L, it's a lesson. Because also, if you're in a game to either win or lose, that means that you was playing. So ain't nobody on the sidelines can tell you anything. Until you sweating in the gym, shooting in the gym with me, don't be trying to talk about my game shot or point jump, whatever it's called. You know that basketball term. So yes, lose if need be without squealing. Stop trying to blame other people, anything. Oh, I had a cold. No. Take your L, learn, and move on. I like that one. All right. Win without bragging. That's another thing. Sometimes we gloat and boast, thinking it's all us, like we did this. No. It's God's favor. Is more precious than life. Ooh, that's that Clark sisters. Favor of God, yes. So win without bragging, because it could have just been all the elements was right. Or if you must celebrate, you must be excited, it's okay. But you don't have to brag in front of people or make the people that lost feeling the type of way. Oh, this is preaching to me right now. Always be considerate of women, children, and older people. That's beautiful, especially in today's society. I don't know what is going on. The respect your elders thing is kind of going out the window. I don't know why. I don't know but we got to get back to the times where we respect our elders, especially women and women, because I don't know where this thought culture all really, is your mama? No. But yeah, I don't know where the degradation, I hope I'm saying that word right and using it in the right context, but I feel like it fits in this moment, of women came from. Whoa, wait a minute. You heard what Tupac said? We all came from a woman, got our game from a woman. Look now. Don't forget about that. So I'm glad George Washington Carver said that. Always be considerate of women, children, and older people. For the most part, I think we all can agree we love kids. So I don't see people being too mean to kids, but it does happen. So if you're listening to this and you're mean to kids, stop. Always be considerate of women, children, and older people. Be too brave to lie. Ooh, that is good. Be too brave to lie. It does take courage to tell the truth, even if it's sometimes a truth that may not make you look good, that may put you in a bad light. That one is a very good one. I gotta meditate on that one. Be too brave to lie. Be too generous to cheat. You know what? And I like these too, because when you cheat, it's almost as though you feel like your abilities aren't enough. I have to manipulate so the outcome can come out to be favorable for me, instead of just playing it or doing it fair and square. You win some, you lose some, but you live to fight another day. So why cheat? Why? Don't do that. And number 8, take your share of the world and let others take theirs. I like that. So it's just more so look, it's enough for us all to eat. I don't really know if that's what he meant, but that's how I'm taking it as. Take your share of the world and let others take theirs. Right. We all can get a seat at the table, and we all can eat. It's enough out here for us all to get chunky. So that's what I wanted to say about George Washington Carver. He's an amazing man. If y'all ever get a chance to watch any of his documentaries, anything that's done on him, or read any articles or books, You will not be disappointed. It will help you look at yourself differently and look at the things that you complain about and realize, like, it, as in this generation, kind of, and all things being equal, because I know like some things could be like real worse and real good, like, but all things being equal, you realize like, okay, this what I'm going through is not as bad as what I could be going through and what people before me went through, especially people of color went through. And he still was able to like have all these things, be persecuted, people coming at him, the odds, not eating what he wanted to eat. See, that's kind of important to me. Not doing what he wanted to do, going where he wanted to go because of racism. But that never stopped his stride. You know what I mean? He was able to do so much in the midst of great tribulation. And that gives me hope and lets me know that we can do a lot too in the face of great tribulations, as long as we are talking to the creator as well. He'll give you that peace in the midst of the storm. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Thank you for tuning in on another installment of Saturdays with Sin. Oh, I might as well show y'all what's coming up next while I got y'all on the line. So we are trying something new. I'm going to share with y'all my new Go Live schedule. I'm about to be in y'all face, in y'all living rooms, snapping necks, so y'all can really be out here seeing me and like talking, having a good conversation and dialogue. So, starting effective next week. Is this a new one? Yeah. Starting Tuesday of next week, we are talking about these topics, and I'll be going live at 7 p.m. every other day. Yeah. So next week on Tuesday, the first thing we'll be talking about is signs of friendship or a relationship has ran its course. I just feel like we don't talk about that enough. Sometimes I think we stick with stuff out of loyalty, out of nostalgia. I knew her since we was in preschool together, but that don't mean nothing. That it still could be this relationship has ran its course, So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the difference between settling and compromising in life, because there is a difference. And yeah, I think we should talk about it. And the next installment, I'm going to have to change the weeks because they're all in the same week. We're going to be talking about, do nice girls really finish last? I mean, because people say that a lot of nice guys finish last. And spoiler alert, they do. Sometimes I feel like women and men are nice for a reason. They think they're being nice, but really it's something deeper. And we'll talk about that. And then the last thing we will be talking about to wrap out this month will be the things I learned from doing YouTube. As you guys see me here now in social media, like things like that. You know how I went from 100 subscribers to 1,000 subscribers. Like, your girl did it. No, but we did it. Thank you guys always for listening and tuning in. So that's what's coming at y'all starting Tuesday, March 22nd. Please tune in. We're gonna have a good time. That's Tuesday at 7 p.m. Then I'll be right back at y'all Thursday, and I'll be right back at y'all on Monday, and then Wednesday. I'm gonna be in y'all faces. Like right now, I understand y'all could be asleep on this Saturday morning, but that's okay. I'm coming at y'all for the rest of the week. For the rest of this month, we in and out strong. Anyway, thanks again for joining me, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye.